If we could build a time machine and travel back tens of thousands of years, one of our biggest surprises might be seeing the faces of the humans who lived on Earth back then. Here's the question. If a human from 40,000 years ago stood in front of us, would we recognize them right away? Did their face look like a modern human's? What about their skin color? Were their hair, eyes, and facial features similar to people today? The image most of us have of first humans is usually a caveman with long hair, a body covered in fur, and a rough face. But this image is mostly a product of movies, not science. The reality is that first humans were far more complex and diverse than we imagine. To reconstruct the appearance of ancient humans, scientists don't just look at bones. They use combined evidence, including DNA extracted from ancient bones, related to skin color, hair, eyes, skull shape, and the migration routes humans took throughout history. But where did the story of human appearance begin? About 300,000 years ago, our species, Homo sapiens, took shape in Africa. At that time, our ancestors lived in environments with very intense sunlight. One of the most important changes in human evolution was the reduction of thick body hair and an increase in the ability to sweat. This change helped humans move better in hot regions and keep their bodies cool. But when skin without much hair covering became more exposed to sunlight, a new problem arose. Harmful solar rays could damage skin cells. This is where melanin entered the story. Melanin, the skin's natural pigment, acts like a shield against harmful rays. For this reason, humans living near the equator gradually developed more melanin in their skin. But humans didn't stay in Africa forever. Thousands of years later, groups of humans began migrating to new regions, to the Middle East, Asia, and Europe. They entered environments with less sunlight, especially at northern latitudes. In these environments, dark skin could make producing vitamin D harder, since the body needs sunlight to make this vitamin. For this reason, over thousands of years, genetic changes linked to lighter skin increased in some populations. But this change didn't happen quickly. One common mistake is assuming the first humans who entered Europe looked exactly like today's Europeans. But ancient DNA evidence tells a different story. One of the most famous examples is Cheddar Man, a human skeleton who lived about 10,000 years ago in a cave in England. When scientists examined his DNA, they got an interesting result. The genetic reconstruction showed he likely had dark skin, dark hair, and light-colored eyes, a combination that might be unexpected for many people today. This finding shows that the appearance of ancient humans didn't always match our modern assumptions about people from different regions. In Spain, too, examples like Braña showed that some European hunter-gatherers thousands of years ago had appearance features different from people in Europe today. So did all first humans have dark skin? The simple answer is no. First humans were not a completely uniform group. They lived in different regions and adapted to different environments. Even within Africa, there is enormous genetic diversity. Human skin color isn't a simple trait with a few fixed options. It's the result of interaction between many genes, environmental conditions, migration, population mixing, and natural selection. But skin color wasn't the only thing that changed. Hair and eye color also changed throughout human history. DNA research shows that traits like light-colored eyes or specific hair colors gradually developed in parts of Europe and Asia over time. Now let's look at one of our closest relatives, the Neanderthals. For a long time, people imagined Neanderthals as completely different, monster-like creatures. But new research shows they had culture, tools, hunting skills, and even complex social behaviors. They probably looked different from us in appearance, with stronger bodies, denser bone structure, and adaptations suited for living in cold regions. But they too had diversity, and we can't describe them with a single fixed face. So if we came face to face with a group of humans from 30,000 or 40,000 years ago, we would likely encounter a diverse mix of different faces, some with darker skin, some with different facial features, some with eye or hair colors we'd least expect. But perhaps the most interesting point is this. The first humans don't just have a story about their appearance, they have a story of adaptation. They moved from the warm forests of Africa to the cold lands of Europe and Asia, and over many generations, their bodies and appearance changed so they could survive in different environments. Skin color, hair type, and facial features aren't signs of difference between humans around the world. They are the legacy of one species-long journey across the Earth. Today, we are the result of that very journey. The first humans didn't have one face. They had thousands of faces, and each face tells a complete story of survival, migration, and adaptation.